Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ronald Show. Today is Friday morning, 1 a.m., 16 September 2022. Welcome back to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the worldwide military industrial complex. But I think we're on the verge of reversing that curse, and I am put the state of Florida into check or checkmate if this were a chess match. You all saw the video where I got unlawfully pulled out of my vehicle or automobile or whatever they want to call it. But remember, it's just a car. I was traveling down the road in my car. And to do that, you don't need a license. So Christopher Livingston, posing as an officer, pulled me out of my car when I stayed in honor by conditionally accepting all of the offers that he made to me. And then there was a summons for me to appear in court on September 13th, 2022. And I attended, but as a visitor there with my birth certificate bond. And when they asked me to stand or rise when the judge entered the courtroom, I simply stayed seated because I didn't want to show by body language that I was under the jurisdiction of the court or any person. I had already rebutted their 12 presumptions about us as we enter their so-called court. And I was just there as a visitor to clear up the matter about the Ronald Russell Farnham Trust. As I held up my birth certificate, the bailiff there, who bails and he does is handles you as property. They think you're property when you're entering their court, and so they handle you as property, taking it from one point to another, and he was handling me as a thing. And when he put me in handcuffs, I told him I'm not a thing. I'm a soul-possessing, living being, flesh and blood. So I went into court as a visitor, and they had me approach the bench, and the judge, I think her name's Jacoby, and I'm talking about in Vieira, Judge Jameson Way, over in Vieira, Florida, just about 15 or 20 miles south of Cocoa Beach on the east coast of Florida. You can check it out online. They have a website, brevardcounty.org, brevardcounty.gov, I think, something like that. But there, Brevard County, Florida, in the Vieira Administration Center. Because remember, you're not really in a true courtroom, you're in an administration center. So before I went there as a visitor on 13 September, at 9 a.m., I had already filed probably 30 or 40 facts onto the record that showed that they had no jurisdiction over me, that they weren't even allowed to put their hands on me because I rebutted their key presumptions before I entered their courtroom. And so obviously they have such a racket going on, and they're not even reading paperwork presented to them by defendants. They just show up and have you state your name. And I already before I went in there rebutted their presumption against me as having to obey the rules of court. So when I showed up on the 13th, wouldn't stand for the judge on the 13th of September, the bailiff threw me out of the courtroom. I told him I'm not going to stand up and show by body language that I'm under the jurisdiction of the judge. He didn't know that I had already rebutted the presumption that I had to obey court. Because remember, it's not a real court. They're just running a business there. It's bar guild private meeting, pretending to be in the public, acting as a stage play in front of people to use coercion and threats of force. So I got thrown out of the court, and the bailiff said he'd come get me when they called my name. So he comes out into the hallway like 15 minutes later, Farnham. So I go in there, and I'm holding my birth certificate in the air. That's my trust, the Ronald Russell Farnham Trust. So I stood behind the bar. I hadn't entered the bar yet. And I said, I'm just here to clear up the matter about the Ronald Russell Farnham Trust. She said to approach the bench. And before I did that, or enter the bar, I just said, well, look, I'm just here as a visitor. I think next time if I make an appearance, they want me to appear on this coming Tuesday, the 20th. I'm going to stay behind the bar and see what happens. Because once I enter the bar, so I've actually doing a change of venue to change it to a Zoom call in the parking lot because, as I'm about to tell you, they put their hands on me again and they handcuffed me, and they don't have any right to do that. So I showed up there, and I had already filed all of the facts into evidence, facts that will stand regarding my case. Remember, when you go into court, you're not there to argue. You're there to assess the facts, and make a judgment. And my facts are that they violated my private Ronald Russell Farnham birth certificate trust that I filed on the record as my property. Piece of paper. A piece of paper. Just like a corporation's piece of paper, just like the United States of America is a corporation because it's on paper, but it needs a president to sign documents because a corporation can't do anything on its own without human intervention, someone signing things. So let's see, how long are we going right now? It's all 5 minutes. Jeez, probably going to finish this in about 5 more minutes. Tell you what happened, and I'll tell you what's going to happen. So I was standing there holding that piece of paper, and the judge, after I said I'm here to clear up the matter about the Ronald Russell Farnham Trust, which I had put in as a presumption that I was there as a visitor, and because they had misused my name, that I had filed on the record as my property like 3 years ago in 2019. As you know from the book, The Solution, an instruction manual for sovereignty and freedom, it teaches you how to secure your private property as your private property on the public record so that it becomes law. Once you file it with the county recorder, if it goes on the record for 30 days unrebutted, it becomes law. So I'm holding the birth certificate, and the judge is like, well, enter the bar. So I was like, all right, I'll come in and play. We're going to go play because they're putting on a play. So I entered there, and she immediately had me swear in. And I was like, what are we swearing on? I don't see a Bible. She's just like she said, just raise your right hand and swear you're going to tell the truth. I was like, all right. So she swore me. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you, whatever. I was like, yes, I'm going to tell you the truth. And remember, this is about the Ronald Russell Farnham Trust. So she goes, state your name. And now she wants me to say Ronald Farnham. Most people go in there and just state their first and last name because they're doing what they're told, because there's a dude there with a gun, handcuffs. They've already probably dragged you through their jailing system, and you're already intimidated walking in the door. So I didn't state my name. I spelled Rononymous, the living soul. I said :space RONONYMOUS, and my mom behind me in the benches was recording this the whole time. So remember that my mom was recording this. So I spell Rononymous. She goes, well, are you Ronald Farnham? And and remember, this is about Ronald Russell Farnham. They're just playing word games. People don't know how to handle their interactions with the law because you're stuck in formal English language and thinking, and you don't know what's really going on because you haven't moved up to legal English and understood that it's just a business dealing going on, and you're contracting. And you have the right to conditionally accept or decline all offers and go into, if you don't accept an offer in some way, either accept or conditionally accept, you go into dishonor under the contracting, the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC 1, which is your document that you can file to claim all of your property on the record. And I talk about that in my book, The Solution, an instruction manual for sovereignty and freedom that teaches you how to remove yourself from the jurisdiction of the state. So after I spelled Rononymous, she goes, well, are you Ronald Farnham? Now, I decided to answer the question because